for Sumeria
I feel you
because
should move the warrior a couple to the left just to get the full
already
visual.
we're gonna go.
I mean, like, I feel that is, like that is part of the map. Yeah, there you go. Everyone can I'm assuming most people can figure out what those yields mean.
There's just fantastic yields. Look at that hill, right? Like, oh my god.
Yeah, like, that's a beautiful hill.
Do you just settle
Like,
on that
I
hill?
do I just settle on the hill? I like, here and that this is why I said, I think you should go over, because this is a beautiful, beautiful start. I mean, very rarely do you get a wonder close to a river like this. Usually, it's like 1, 2 tiles in. Like, just I don't know if there's coding for that or what, but usually wonders are a little bit further away from a river. So the fact that you can get, like, a freshwater settle right here on this grassland tile right at the bottom of the fog there, and, still have the wonder yields, in your first ring is nice. There's I mean, you got 2 different luxuries, like, on the way there. You got the T and the diamond. Like, this is an overall even without the wonder, this is a really strong start, even though, like you were saying, hills aren't the best for Gilgamesh. But you got a lot of grassland hills, which are, in my opinion, better than the plains hills,
Yeah,
because they
I
turn
mean,
into 2 tiles easier.
whenever you start next to a wonder, by default, it becomes a pretty attractive and appealing start. And when this wonder is probably, I assume this is Roraima. Correct me
Yeah,
if
it
I'm wrong.
is.
Because just
Nope,
of the
you are
position of the
100% correct.
tiles, and you have faith and science, this is one of the best wonders in the game, actually.
Yes.
So from the get go, so should I just walk the settler all the way to this grass tile? Is that what you're asking me to
I
do?
think we should walk down, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only fair because like, full disclosure, I went, like, 4 turns in every direction. I always do when I do these shared games just to make sure that the, start is interesting. I never settle or anything, but I wanna make sure that I'm not picking a map that's just awful.
Okay. Where do we move with the warrior? This is going to be a problem
I
where
would
I'm
just
asking
loop
you. You
around
know what?
the
I'll just
tribal village.
yeah. I'll just keep moving because it really doesn't matter. So there is tundra
There we go,
in the
perfect.
north, so we're kind of limited there.
Yep, so you got tundra in the north, you got tribal village, like, right on your side there. You got more T tiles, which is beautiful.
And we got more
I think
diamonds and more resource. Look at that.
yeah,
We got like
I think now you're pretty good if you just move down to that last, right to the left of the deer there.
this tile. I mean, the one that has no fresh water, the wonder tile, or the grassland with fresh water.
Yeah, I'm just saying move there for the full visual. All is fair because that's about as far as I moved
Oh,
when
we
I,
found another
when
tribal
I
village up north.
yeah, there you go, perfect. I just wanted, you know me, I'm all about fairness, and I just wanted, like, a full, full visual for everyone who watches, and for you yourself, uh, what I saw.
Well, why don't you talk a little bit towards like the fact that we're losing turns by moving the settler? What we on turn 3 already, and we still haven't settled. I
Yeah,
guess
exactly.
we can settle right now on this grass tile, right?
Well, that's not what like, here's the thing, I don't want you to settle, I want you to just move all the way to the bottom because, we can then talk about some settle locations. If a city's down there, it seems like that's what we're saying is the settle location, you know what I mean?
You want me to keep walking with the settler?
Yeah, just 1 more tile down, and then we'll just discuss from there.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
Yeah, there are
Alright, so
so many
now
resources here. That's insane.
I'm gonna be honest, this is gonna drive you insane, you know
Yeah.
where I'm settling? I'm settling on the rice tile next turn, down. And that, like, I went this far, and I was like, "Oh, if I was to settle, I would settle the rice tile next to the marsh." You have no housing. Um,
See, I don't understand this move because your immediate tiles would have no production whatsoever. Like, why would you settle on this
but you
rice? Why?
need production.
Yeah, I want to build stuff like a scout or something. Like, why wouldn't you
A
settle?
10 turn
Why wouldn't you settle here where we are now next to the deer?
a 10 turn scout is fine. Like here's my thought. If you go down here, you're gonna get your population fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna hit the population cap pretty early, honestly, because you're only gonna have like three. I forget how much your capital gets without fresh water, but you're gonna hit that population cap pretty early. But you're gonna get your population faster than almost anywhere else for the early population, which is gonna get you your pantheon right away. If you can get religious settlements, you can get a second tile on the like a second tile somewhere um, or a second city somewhere on the Wonder that has fresh water, and you have two cities faster than almost any situation.
Hmm.
Uh, so, like, yeah, it's going to take forever to do that first scout, but you'll have your second city faster than if you settled a high production city. You get what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, but the second city you still need production to build a settler.
Now, if you get religious settlements,
You would go with religious settlements. Okay. Well,
yeah, and that's why I would say I would settle where I'm settling here because if you look, you're 4 turns for your population, you're gonna cap out at 3 population, but by the time you reach 3 population, you'll have had your pantheon. You'll also be generating the most early science possible, and you'll grow into that 2-1-2-2 tile to your left, and the 2-1-3-3 tile to your to the top there. Both of those you're growing into relatively early. Um,
okay. Okay. You know what? Let's roll with that. I like it. So now the fact that we
oh,
are
you're actually gonna play this?
no, I mean we're still talking,
Oh,
right?
okay.
But what I was gonna
Okay.
say is what is our first build, right? Like because now our war
Oh, first
card
build is still a scout.
55 production for a war card, right? I mean that's
Yeah,
a
and
little
that's the
insane.
problem. Yeah, and that's the problem with Gilgamesh. Like this is my problem with all early war civs that have that super strong unit. Everyone except for Nubia falls into this trap of the unit is good, but it takes so long to get it. Aztecs, their Eagle Warrior takes forever. Warcart takes forever. Even Poundmaker, his scout, yeah, it's a better scout, but I don't want to wait the number of turns to get it. I just want a regular scout. These ancient era unique units just in my don't work in deity because you're 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 losing so many turns.
Yeah, you're losing turns, and plus you don't know what the situation is on the map, right? So you're investing in a war
Exactly.
card right away. However, my only thing is that with the epic quests your war card will start to destroy barbarian camps right away, which will provide you a little bit of a bonus from equal to tribal villages, so maybe that's
You
worth.
might have to remind me on this. Warcart suffer the
No,
penalty against spearmen though?
they do
It
not.
doesn't?
They do not. No,
Okay.
no
I
penalties
haven't
against
played a
anti-cav.
Gilgamesh.
Yeah, so meaning
Okay,
that
perfect.
they can take out an outpost from like in 2 shots or something like that.
Oh, yeah, I guess, yeah, it's right there, no penalties against anti-cavalry, that's important. Yeah, no, and that's the thing, and that's like, when you look at Epic Quest, that's a good ability because, like I said, it's paying you for something that you were already going to do. You were already gonna take out barbarians. Well, I would hope you were already gonna take out barbarians if you saw them. I guess, there's times I let them fester, but, like, you shouldn't. If you do get a war cart, yeah, it's not bad, but I just don't think it's worth the investment. So my first build is definitely going to be a scout still.
Yeah, 10 turns for a scout. And this is interesting because if we play this game out, I'm going to settle on a tile higher and see
Where are
if
you settling?
I'm going to settle right there on next to the deer
Oh, north of the deer on the oh, what? Well, but that's how is that any better?
because I can work the
You still
deer
don't
right
have fresh
away.
water.
I can work the deer right away, and my first build will be a war card.
Oh, so you're going war carts
Oh
right away?
yeah, hell yeah. I mean,
All
why
right,
why
that's
play
interesting.
Gilgamesh if you're not building war cards? Come on.
So you're doing a war cart rush. I like it.
No,
Like
I'm not doing a war
that's
card
wild.
rush. I'll build a war card and see how it is. I'll invest
I
in
mean,
one
I'm pretty
because I'm gonna go after the outposts from the get go.
so you're going
I'm gonna
you're
go
going
war
looking for
card.
barbarians.
Yeah, exactly.
So I like this because you're basically uh you're basically doing the put all points into luck RPG map model. I like that. You know,
Exactly.
like who needs strength, intelligence, or anything else? Just put all those points into luck. All
Have some
right.
fun for once. Hey, listen.
Yeah.
We have a question though in the chat. Like, why
Yeah, I see
didn't
that.
you settle your capital in the starting location? Because it was next to the diamonds, right? Or some very close by, or something like that.
The reason why we didn't settle there, I'm not saying that that's a bad sell. That's actually a good settle. I would personally move on to the diamond just to get access to a luxury raidway so you could sell it. We moved down just because when checking maps, I always move 4 turns, so I wanted people to have the same amount of visibility before they started the game that I had. So, but also because I think this is where I would settle.
Well, yeah, he would settle here, right? And Soger, you already explained because you have access to faith right away, and you want to get
Yep,
that religious settlements pantheon that will give you the
exactly.
second city immediately. So if you don't settle here, you're not getting religious pantheon. Uh, so that's the main reason, right? Well, one of the main reasons, I would say.
I'm not exact like Toki is taking a shot at me, but I'm not exactly sure what shot he's taking at me. He is he's just doing the tribal village thing. I already said this is a Gilgamesh game with going for going for barbarian camps is scaring the crap out of me because I think I'm gonna get something like 10 relics this game. That was like the first thing I said to Kaine when we were talking about doing a Gilgamesh game is what is every AI going to have a relic and I'm going to have one waiting to sell once they get a great work slot? Oh, wow. That's nice.
Yeah, it is nice. I'm gonna improve. I build the ziggurat right here on this tile. Oh, see, look, and now you got the barbarians already coming out at you.
Oh, perfect. Oh, he was giving me crap about the luck stat. Yeah, no, like trust me, I know how insane my luck is. I was just talking to Kane yesterday about how many games has he got 2 relics in under 3 turns because I now have a second game that I was recording that I just had to get rid of because I got a relic and then the next turn, then like 2 turns later I got another relic and there's the recording of me just yelling at the screen. Um, but
Oh
anyways,
my
back to the
god.
game.
Yeah, I there is a little bit of a delay, but we just met the culture city state, which is awesome. We met it first. We got a second tribal village and the second builder.
Yeah, see, that's perfect.
Yeah,
Well, see, look at Thomas.
RNG sometimes is just insane.
Thomas, see this, and this is why I'm fine settling off of fresh water. Now, are you going to get 2 builders every time? Unlikely. Ways to get housing, and that's another reason why I have absolutely no problem with this settle, is you can eventually get your housing. You can eventually get a granary. You can put down farms and keep the city growing. You can't get that science and faith from the second you settle anywhere else. So I would settle really aggressively. Now, is this gonna be the best settle? I don't know. You could make the argument settle on the diamond and and get a second city here. Highly unlikely you're going to get religious settlements, but that is a stronger city for growth from the very beginning and for production, obviously. And you're settling on turn one. But I am not a huge proponent of the turn one settle being a requirement. I think some of my best games have been I've moved quite long distance, but uh, I've gotten a much better settle because of it.
Hmm.
Is rushing the ziggurat the best option? Oh god, no. I don't know why he built that there. I would have just kept going housing. Like culture is nice, but if you're settling off of fresh water, you're gonna want to do farms. Now, if he had fresh water and housing wasn't an issue, I'd be more inclined to pop it on those tiles. Um, I think that putting a ziggurat there, no, it's not anywhere close to right.
Yeah, I put a ziggurat there because I just wanted to. Here's the thing: you guys
Yeah.
will be able to play this game because we're gonna obviously share the seed, or a save for a
Yep.
deity level game, and we all gonna play, settle different locations, and see who
Yeah.
does better. We can. The whole point of the series that we're doing right now, right, is to play a science game, the fastest science win with Gilgamesh, and compare the games between mine, Soger, and whoever else would want to join us. Now,
Yeah.
science strategy overall, Soger. What are we doing?
Yes.
The first step is to
What do we do?
get a golden age, right, and expand as fast as
Exactly, and
possible.
this is gonna be super easy with Gilgamesh because how much era score do you have right now? You have, like, 12 era score,
Well, that's
for
part of the
settling the
reason
wonder
I
for
built the ziggurat. Is just to make sure I'm getting
exactly.
that era score, Because with Sumeria, it's
Mhm.
easy. Build a war card, you get an era score. You build a ziggurat, you get another era score. So,
Yeah.
and here we're going to build the holy site, which will give us a ridiculous era score as well.
Yeah, exactly, and that's another thing with this location. Like, I never actually built the city, but you've got a holy site location right tucked up in these, mountains there. So that's nice, down to the bottom right there. That's a +3 holy site without crushing any of the yields on the wonder. Don't get me wrong, there will be at least 1, if not 2 holy sites up against that wonder, but early game, if I can get a +3 holy site in my capital and save those yields, I'm going to. But you're gonna wanna, get as many cities around that wonder as possible, obviously.
Absolutely. And you can see that
And
the next tile expansion is actually going to Amber, which
oh, that's perfect.
I did not expect that to happen, but it will give you a little bit more production.
Yeah, and the thing with this super high,
Ooh.
science start is you're going to get, uh oh, there we go.
Look what happened. Wow.
Yeah, there you go. You got Mapuche. Nice and close.
Nice and super close. Okay, so what are we thinking here? I mean, we have 30 gold. I assume we need to send
Yeah.
the delegation.
Here's the thing, man. I'm
Okay.
not gonna send a delegation.
No. Okay, because
Oh, what
why?
is he? Is that -8?
-8.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful.
So what do we do here?
Nothing.
See,
You just
if you see
you just
my strategy of building a war card first would actually pay off because I'm gonna rush my Poochie. Because look how close he is. This is perfect. I
Mo
mean,
Probs is here. He said, "Hey, friends."
hey, what's up,
Hey,
Mopro?
Mo Probs. I hope you play this game. Yeah, I think this only makes I
Send him a card
Toki said
delegation.
send him a cart delegation. There you go. I'm gonna be honest. I am still settling where I said. I don't care if I forward settle Mapuche with my capital. That's fine. I'll figure out a way. I always do.
Okay, so let's figure out a way because I'm super curious of like what your plan would be on how
Well,
to
I'm
deal
not
with
giving away my
Mapuche.
plan right now. The game hasn't even
Well, you have
started.
to. We're
Yeah, you're
live
taking a.
streaming, so you have to share your
Oh
your
no!
plan.
So you want me to play out my game? Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
Here's what I'm gonna do. Uh, uh, okay, so you got Mapuche, right? You know, there's no way he's not gonna denounce you. He's a
Ah, come
very
on. He's
aggressive
never
early
gonna
war
denounce
civ.
us.
He's a very aggressive early war civ. There we go. I would have traded for all of his gold, knowing that's gonna come. There's no way he's not gonna denounce you. Like the fact that you didn't think the fact that you didn't think he was gonna denounce you makes me question you if you understand the game.
Why wouldn't I
He's
think
like
that? I did think that, but what's the move when you know the denouncement is coming? Are you sending the delegation?
nope, I just take all their gold and accept the denouncement because you can't trade with
Oh,
them. You can't there's like your trade is basically gone. Uh
you're saying I should have
uh
exchanged the gold? Is that what you're saying?
yep, you should have traded gold
Uh,
for turn because you knew the denouncement is coming. He's already going to get the grievances for denouncing you. And the reality is, it's Mapuche. He's going to go to war with you in the ancient era. You like the second you found him, this is you're getting attacked in the early turns. Mapuche, 100%. If he's close, you're getting attacked. There's no question about it. So the fact he denounced you is actually a bonus, because it gives you the opportunity to do a joint war if that becomes available. Obviously, uh, but what I'm gonna do is I'm not changing my plan. I'm still sticking. I'm gonna go scouting. I'm gonna try and find people because I, I with those two builders. Let's assume you don't get two builders. Let's assume you have to buy a builder because it's super unlikely that you're gonna get two builders with tribal villages. If you can get one of those luxuries, you can buy a war cart. But I'm gonna just stick with my plan of scouting and doing my game but know that I have to save my gold. Does that
hmm
make sense?
It does. It does. Yeah, because my idea was to settle a little different and have more production and try to build a war card. And I mean, you can't pacify Mapuche, obviously, right? So he's gonna go to war with you. So it's
The
all
the
about.
yeah, the thing is, and I say this all the time, their disposition has no effect on if they're going to go to war with you. So that -8 just means he's going to denounce you, and knowing the type of civ he is, I know there's no way of not getting denounced by him. But even if he was at +3, he's still going to war with you. Mapuche is an extremely aggressive civ.
Yeah, I mean, look at his face. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, listen, I don't think I want to play out any more of this map right now, being that the whole idea is to compete, right,
yeah.
against each other. But what I wanted to do is talk about the further plan. I mean, what is the best case scenario with Mapuche? Like, are we just holding him off, or we're obviously not going on the attack?
It depends on
Although,
what he does.
okay.
It really depends on what he does. Early war is completely won by the AI's decisions. If Mapuche goes into the wheel and gets a chariot, because if you're settling, the reality is no matter where you settle, you're going to have to deal with Mapuche. I'll
Mm-hmm.
just tell everyone that right now. Unless you get lucky and you don't find him, like if you opt to not explore down there, you're going to be dealing with Mapuche at that range. Even if you settle in location, he's in striking range. So that should be in the back of everyone's head as, hey, I'm going to have a war declared on me. Um, but if he goes into the wheel and chariot and archers, you're not gonna conquer them. Even if you settled that first city and went war carts right away, they're just not strong enough. If the AI goes into defensive and aggressive military right at the beginning, your best bet is maybe take a city. You're not gonna completely clear them out unless you devote everything to it, and if you devote everything to it, you're then falling behind and actually winning the game.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So in the best case scenario, we have a what is it called? The status quo, right? A
Exactly.
ceasefire, if you will. and then
Yep.
that will allow you to expand, because obviously it seems like it's going to be easy to get era score with Sumeria, right?
Oh
um
yeah.
that shouldn't be a problem. And where would you expand to? Are you going to settle around the
My
wonder,
first cities are all going around that wonder.
around the
There is
wonder?
no reason to settle anywhere but that wonder, because
Now,
I
just let me point out that if you settle around the wonder, you're going to be losing out on like actual per turn production, right? If
oh yeah,
opposing this to settling on somewhere on this plains hills next to like diamonds and whatnot, right? So,
exactly.
I mean, you're looking to settle around the wonder. So, explain to us why.
Because production is great. Don't get me wrong. Production is great. You want to be able to get your districts, but everything can be purchased with something else other than wonders and districts. Uh, you can't purchase science, but you can get like a whole bunch of free science right here if you settle around the wonder. The faith has a better exchange once you reach classical era with monumentality than the production. So you'll be able to expand more. Now you're going to be struggling really hard on getting stuff built. You might fall behind in the culture game because you're going to be skipping monuments in favor of like holy sites and campuses. But with the amount of science this generates, you are not going to be you're not going to be handicapped in science if you focus on a pure growth game, being like commercial hubs and holy sites and expanding. If you settle your first cities around here, it'd be like you built campuses first. So you'll be getting down the tree faster. So then, if you prioritize a growth game, and you aren't being weakened in the science department, when you start getting your campuses down, you're starting from the middle of the tree instead of way at the beginning, if that makes
Okay.
any sense.
So, what would be
Uh,
your like scientific research based on? Like you mentioned, commerce hubs, for example, but that's going to take a little
yeah.
while. While meanwhile, you're dealing with Mapuche, right? So, would you have to divert research to like archery to make sure you get defensive units out, archers?
Oh, hold up. I'm just reading this question. Yes, that is a huge problem, the Dagster. The science is a double-edged sword in the fact that it is going to increase district costs. But that's like realistically, that's going to just be a necessary evil. That's where the chops are going to go in. The reality is, I might hold back on wonders this game and chop out my early districts. It's going to pain me not to do an Apadana rush. I'm going to try for it, but I think that with the given starting location, you have to make do with what is available. And what is available in this, those hills have no chops. They have like the starting area has nothing to nothing extra. There's a few chops, but not enough to really matter. So what is available is the wonder. So you have to utilize that to its fullest, if that makes sense. So you're accepting the high production costs, and then the chops, instead of going for wonders in the early game, go to districts to get those out faster. Now to answer your question, Kane, with the amount of science you're gonna be generating, you're getting like 2 science per tile. I'm also going to hard work the tiles, like, you're probably working that amber tile right now. I'm going to hard work the science tiles because I'm gonna wanna clear out those first 3 techs really early, and then I'm gonna wanna get archery, ready. I don't wanna finish it because I'm gonna wanna buy slingers at the 140 so I can upgrade them to archers for 60, so I'm getting a 200 gold archer instead of a 200, I think they're 240 if you
Yeah,
buy them
where are
outright.
you getting gold here from? Like, there is no gold to work, right? There is no resource. I guess you need to go after the outposts. So again, going back, you're still building a scout. You know, it's turn
Yeah.
11 for crying out loud, because you moved so far. You settle on turn 4, then it takes 10 turns to build a scout. I'd be curious to know how it plays out for you because by this time I probably have a war cart ready and running around to get
I
that
hope you do.
gold. But where do you
I
get the
hope you.
gold when you talk about the gold?
Well, like I said, I would have traded with Mapuche right away. Um, and then I'm hoping I'm going to get a joint war. If I don't get a joint war, I'm going to use one of those builders if I get the builders. If I don't get the builders, well, I'll be pretty close to a builder at this point on just static gold per turn. Uh, I'll improve a luxury and hopefully I find somebody else.
Hmm.
You already have the amber available. If you can get a builder and you can get that, now, if Mapuche declares war, like, right away, I guess I'm sunk. I guess that would be the game I lose, but I have a feeling I know how the AI is. You've got about you've got about 15 turns before Mapuche even gets troops up there. Now, when he comes up there, he's coming full
Yeah.
force, but you got 15 turns. So uh like, and defending is easy. Like, especially with the marsh there, they're gonna put a tile right in that marsh, and it's just gonna get eaten because it's gonna have that low defensive cost. Uh, because they're gonna move like the AI. Like a player would stand on the rice and the open grassland. The AI is gonna move to try and get as far into your territory as possible to attack, which means they're gonna pop a unit right on that marsh, and you're gonna be able to burn it down.
Yeah, it's a pretty good defensive position. Plus, he's got to traverse all this terrain here, so it's going to slow him down as well.
Yeah, and
Hmm.
if you get an archer on the hill next to your city, they won't be able to move next to it and attack on the same turn. So there's no good way for them to attack the city. I mean,
Okay.
even up north, like every city along this river, um, is really good to defend because in the ancient era, they're gonna be moving so slow, that you're gonna only have to take, like, w if you can get, like, 2 or 3 archers, you'll be able to take out the units as they move in. There's no real settle that is in danger of being conquered if you take the appropriate steps.
Hmm. Okay. So going back to the settlement, so you will settle around the wonder and you just
Yeah.
keep expanding, right? You keep expanding until you really can't without focusing on like building campuses right away or anything like that.
No, no, I like I
You're
said, I'm gonna
building
go
up your
holy site.
economy, right? You're still building out
Yep.
holy sites and basically in commerce hubs.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because, and like that's why I said the beauty of, and even if you get a second city, if you get your second, third city around the wonder, it's just as good. I would still lean in heavily into growing your empire early with this start because this wonder isn't going to provide as much as like a top tier campus. If you get like a +7 campus, obviously it's going to do more than this, but that's so unlikely. If you are working a few tiles of this wonder, that's doing enough that you're not losing any science not having those campuses early.
Hmm.
So I'm gonna like, and I know it's like sort of my standard fare, but I'm definitely gonna do a holy site commercial hub campus. Once I get away from this wonder, just looking at immediate terrain, I gotta be honest, this might be a game where I start building campuses first, a lot earlier, unless there's more adjacency that's I mean, you can only see so much of the map right now, obviously,
Hmm.
but unless I can see, more holy site adjacency, I might just start putting those campuses out as soon as possible, once I get away from the wonder, because the wonder is holy site adjacency, but everywhere else, it's just open terrain, and that +0 or +1 holy site just isn't doing enough once you get into the classical era.
Hmm. Yeah, I guess it depends what the rest of the map is showing us. Um,
Yeah.
but what are you planning to? How many cities would you want to settle by like before you switch to like full on campus production? Or would you plan? I guess again it depends on the map, but would you plan
It's
to
by
go
stage
to?
of game.
Yeah.
By turn 100, well, let me bump it up even more. by turn 90, I'm gonna not be wanting to build holy sites anymore. Just because you're not getting enough. I'm gonna be wanting to get that campus down and running those projects, getting the buildings in there. So however many cities I have by that point of the game, is a much better way than saying a static number of cities. It's
Hmm.
gonna be set by point of game, and it's also going to be determined by my location in the science tree.
And what do you mean by that exactly? Like what path? Because we basically need to unlock the whole tree, right, for the
Yeah.
science victory.
Here, pull
There's
up the science tree and go to the end. Let's see what the end of the science tree looks like, because that's always a little different. Go to the far end of the science tree. Oh, wow, that is terrible.
here.
Yeah, that is like the because it has the 2 separate paths, and you
Hmm.
know for a fact Smart Materials is gonna be on that leaf to the top, because what's the most direct path there? How many turns is it?
How many turns?
To yeah, right where you have the mouse right now.
307 or 347? 347 is the last tack on the tree, and 307 is on the top.
If you search production, you can find Smart Materials using the filter. Are you serious?
What production? Mass production?
Use the filter, let's see.
Or
No,
just,
there's the filter up top.
oh, the filter. No. What does that mean? Like, it would be the last tack?
Oh, there you go. So it's gonna be one of those, yeah. So,
It will be the
well,
top
that's
of the tree.
cheap.
It will be one of
That's really cheap, Thomas. Why
Wait a
haven't you
second.
told me that sooner? That's really cheap.
Wait, but how is it? What does that mean, production? Like, what it.
All right. Well, either way, but like if you go all the way to the end, just like I said, like you got 3. It increases a it increases production of a tile. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
That's what it is. Wow. Are you kidding? That's hilarious. Man, what other tips do you know, Thomas?
Yeah.
That is that's pretty
But
ingenious.
anyways,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
but yeah, so just by looking at this, you can see that you're gonna have to unlock 90% of the tree. There's no real skips. Um,
Yeah, because are
I
you going to be like if I select the last tag, right? The rest
Yeah.
is yeah, 99% of the tree basically. But does it matter how you go about it? Like I assume you're gonna rush currency first,
Yep.
or one of the first tags, right?
And
And
it's really gonna be dependent on what I find for city states. I would like to s I normally go for a Kilwa first, so I normally go the bottom of the tree. If the city states aren't good, I could definitely see going straight for, campus, and going education this game. But with the increased science, off the start, I'm going to be really it's gonna be really hard for me to deviate from the bottom of the tree, because the bottom of the tree unlocks that Forbidden City, unlocks Kilwa, and then switch to an education, route.
hmm hmm and
But that's
this map, what is our map exactly? I don't remember. Is it
It's continents, so
oh, it's continents.
you're gonna
Okay.
need to do ocean travel, which is why if these city states aren't good, I am going to much more be inclined to go towards a cartography to get into that ocean to meet the other civilizations.
hmm hmm Agreed. Yeah, especially considering like your coast is pretty close here, right? So it's gonna be
Exactly.
yeah. Okay.
Uh, but if you go bottom of the tree, that also does make you slightly more tanky, because you're gonna be in line with getting archers, you're gonna be in line with getting swordsmen. So, if you're looking at playing this the most aggressive way possible, if you go bottom of the tree and lean into the Gilgamesh 50% levy cost, you can get like an early swordsman rush. And I know you want to do war carts, but getting some early swordsmen from a city state, if you can get iron, is just as good as a war cart rush because it's going to be infinitely cheaper. And
Yeah,
you're
and
going to be
and
able to ready make it.
to lean on that ability of living city states, you would need to produce some gold, right? Like,
Yeah,
and that's why currency is important. But pillaging is such a huge part of advancing your yields
yeah,
generation, advancing down the civic and tech tree. That 11 units simply for pillaging could be a part of the strategy as well, right?
exactly, and that's another reason to lean into a cartography. And I know I'm sort of bouncing both
Hmm.
ways,
Hmm.
but this is where it's really going to determine what the map looks like. If I have the financial and city state means on the initial continents to win the game, then I'm going to go bottom of the tree. If I want to get out into the world, because I don't feel like my continent is good enough, I'm going to go cartography early because if you go diplomat and you find a city state on the other continent, you can just levy those troops and pillage. Like, they have no defense for it.
Hmm.
You just move the units in, and because they're not your units, if they die, they die. Like, it's not a big deal. Like, you paid like levying is cheap already. You're paying 50% of an already cheap unit per gold exchange. If they die, they die, but if you get, like, 1 or 2 science or culture pillages, you've more than made your gold's worth.
Yeah, the only risk that comes with it, right, is the risk of losing the
City-state
unit.
get conquered.
A city state get conquered, or somebody's just getting more envoys, and you losing suzerainty and losing the
Yeah.
units.
But with
Oh,
Gilgamesh, that's far less of a hit. Like,
is it?
when you're paying 50% less, you gotta think your first city state that you meet, it's $100 to get all of their units. If they build a unit when it gets up to that 240 range, that's 120. Like, what's their levy? 100 gold.
Hmm.
Like, that's a much easier pill to swallow than losing a 200, Caesarity.
Yeah, this is actually a way to deal with Mapuche too, right? If you can
Exactly.
get your hands on Mojihadaro, then you can levy a couple of units from them as well.
Exactly. And like I said, the AI is gonna attack like the AI. So if you can get Caesarity here and so mysticism early, I almost always go foreign trade early empire, but maybe you want to go bottom of the tree to get mysticism to get that envoy to get Caesarity of the city state here. Or get your governor.
Hmm.
Like it depends. What's the quest that you got? Is it possible to complete their quest?
It's a government plaza construction in this case.
Oh, that's terrible. Alright, so that's not gonna happen.
I mean, why isn't it going to happen? I already have it planned right here. See?
Yeah, but I mean, you're gonna get the government plaza, but it's not gonna happen before Mapuche's already attacking you,
Yeah, that's true.
because you'd have to get to mysticism and state
See,
workforce and
that
all
that's
that.
why I have to build some war cards. Chop them
Yeah,
out.
I mean, you could chop out war cards, that works. I mean, I like I said, I'm going to play my game the way I always do, which is, well, I'm gonna get attacked, but I'm not gonna worry about that. I'll worry about that when he attacks me.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I mean that's the skill, right? To be able to finagle your way out of it and come up with some kind of asymmetrical solutions. Okay,
Yeah,
so once you expand it, and maybe you have a couple of wars going for pillaging
yeah.
purposes, for example, right? You're building your campuses. What else are you focusing on in a science game?
Well, Mapuche needs to go.
Mm-hmm.
He's too close, and he's gonna be a problem the entire game. Uh, and the problem with Mapuche is he is the worst civilization to attack after the ancient era. He is by far the worst, because you're gonna be in a golden age, and it's so painful.
Oh, that's right. He
So
gets a bonus, right? Like 10
yeah,
combat bonus against the
yeah.
civs. Oh my
So, like, and the thing is, at being -8 and Mapuche, I don't think that this is a civ that you're gonna just luck into a friendship. It's gonna be like Alexander in a lot of games, where even if he's green, he's never going to accept friendship. I see that being sort of the case here, just because of the way the AI makes in-game decisions, if that makes any sense.
god. Hmm. Hmm.
So I mean, I could be completely wrong. Yeah, that you could possibly get a friendship here. I don't see him ever declaring friends, even if you get him into the green, just because of the way that Mapuche is. Like, if you play any game
So
with
wait.
Mapuche in it,
Like,
he's always going to war.
let me. How are you going to fight Mapuche? I mean, are you going to wait until you have technological superiority then?
Oh
Because
yeah, yeah.
yeah.
You have no choice.
Uh huh.
You can't be one to one. So the problem is, um, I'm either going to A, rush knights and then
Hmm.
take them out, or
Okay.
maybe even rush musketmen, because the beauty with this start, the amount of science you're gonna be getting, once you get a few campuses, musketmen is not gonna be that far of a jump. Like, and that is the one nice thing. The only problem with that is you have to finance that somehow,
Finance
and
and also have resources, right? Like, are
exactly.
there horses? I mean, there are plenty of flat tiles here, so possible. Neither, I don't know, but maybe
Yeah.
iron with all these hills for sure.
I would say I would say 1,000% that there's iron where your holy site is
That's
placed.
a classic,
I would
right?
say 1,000% there's iron there.
Yeah,
If there isn't iron there, I know nothing about this game. Like, are you telling me that that location doesn't have a campus or holy site blocker on it? It does.
absolutely does. I so agree with you.
I mean,
Okay, okay. So Mapuche has to go. So
yeah.
that will earn you more cities, obviously, and more um, ability to move through the tech tree as more campuses built out and whatnot. What about the governors? Would you focus on somebody
You
like
have to go diplomat first,
right, right, of course.
just because you got Mapuche there, and here's the thing,
But
you're
the whole
thinking
Levin ability, right? So you
yeah,
want
that
to be a
too.
suzerain as soon as possible.
But with Mapuche that close, you also have to think of, okay, this is bad. That doesn't mean it's the worst case scenario. Just because Mapuche's there, like, remember the Eleanor game. Just because Scythia is right next to you doesn't mean that the Gaul isn't the like civilization right next to you the other way.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
so you have to go diplomat first, because this would be a perfect 1-2 punch where you have Mapuche there and then like a Babylon or something to the other way, where you're just constantly at war.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, so one, you have to go diplomat for the Caesarity push. Two, you just have to plan for that worst case scenario. And I mean, if say we search and you meet like a bunch of friendly civs, maybe I could argue going like a Magnus and chopping. But the reality is, if I get my governor before I explore, I'm going diplomat for the reason I said.
What would be your second governor? Would it be Pingala or would it be Magnus?
Magnus.
Okay. Chops, right?
Yep, because like was touched on, district costs are gonna go up really, really quick.
Because it's just
Um,
with Pingala, right? It's gonna make more and more sense with him with such like science production and high
yeah,
population, but Magnus would still be your priority.
yeah, because you gotta get stuff out.
Hmm.
Um, I think because you're going to be at war with Mapuche, I don't think an Apadana rush is gonna be possible, because you're good. 'Cause there's no way you're getting through this without a large investment, dealing with Mapuche early.
Hmm.
I mean, even if you settle like I said, even if you settle in the first area, he's still going to war with you. Because what turn is it right now? It's turn 11, and he hasn't met anyone else?
Nope.
Yeah, if he finds you and he hasn't met anyone else, he's going to war with you.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple. So, I mean, at turn 11, the AI is really bad at exploring, so if he hasn't found someone yet, you're the target.
Yeah, see, I'm going back to like the settling decision, and it's like if I have access to diamonds, they'll provide me some gold and ability to trade without chopping anything. I don't know. This is an interesting game that can play out in multiple ways. If Mapuche wasn't close, then your settling location just allows for that ridiculous growth and expansion peacefully. But
Yeah.
because Mapuche is here, it's like, oh, I don't know. I need some production early on.
Well, I'm
So the
saying
governors. Let me ask you about the governors further, though.
yeah.
That's the starting pack, right? And then
Yep.
eventually, you obviously go to Pingala because you want to promote him to all the way to the space.
Exactly,
What's it
yep.
called? Promotions, right? But what about after that? Would you
Moksha
consider Moksha
for a spaceport.
for divine architect? Right. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And then
And even if
Liang.
you don't and
I
even if you don't do a holy site game, because I could see playing this without holy sites and it being just fine. Um, I I still think you make enough faith, just with the wonder, uh, to by the end of the game to get 1 spaceport, it's still worth it to get Moksha.
Mhm. Yeah, buying spaceports with faith. That is some that's a strategy I learned from Soger. I'll be
Yeah.
honest. After playing the
Eh
game for 2,000 hours.
yeah,
Um,
it's so huge because the production cost on those things is so high that if you can instantly get them, and a lot of people think Reina is, interchangeable with Moksha, and she just isn't. I don't care. Even in a Portugal game, you're never gonna have access to bulk gold the same way you have access to bulk faith. If you focus on if you focus a little bit on faith, you'll have access to bulk faith easier than bulk gold just because there's so many other things tied into the cost of your gold.
well, let
Um,
me ask you this though. Like if you are at war, you're gonna need some
yep,
units, right? And
yep,
maybe you're building Grandmaster's Chapel, and
yep,
maybe you want to spend your faith on units, but instead of right gold and save gold
yeah,
to maybe you go democracy and your purchases are cheaper. I don't know if districts are cheaper with
yep,
democracy.
that affects districts as well.
Okay, so I mean there is an argument for Reina in a science game. I almost feel like
But you're still gonna be wanting to build your or buy your campus buildings. You're still gonna be wanting, and unless you get Jesuit education,
aha, that
that's
was
all
my
gold
next question.
purchases.
This is a perfect segue. Beliefs. Because
Yes,
I found that Jesuit education could sometimes be if provided you have faith generation, right?
yeah.
If you have faith income, um, what would be your choice when it comes to beliefs?
If Jesuit education is available this game, it could outperform work ethic,
Uh huh.
just because you're gonna have a decent amount of early faith. You're going like it's going like you're in a
Because
good
our
situation to make
pantheon would
Jesuit work.
yeah, because our pantheon or your pantheon would be religious settlements, so it wouldn't
Yep,
provide anything else, right? So
correct.
your choice in the first belief would be work ethic versus like Jesuit education, or I don't remember what else is there, but work ethic here, where's the adjacency, right? Like you don't get any adjacency for your holy sites, maybe one or two, but that's it.
Exactly.
Hmm.
For me, reliquaries could be an option because by this point of the game, I'm assuming I'm at 4 relics, um, out in the game. But if you get the RNG, that can work. But no, like, I think, this would definitely be a Jesuit education could work game, if that makes any sense, because what you're saying is exactly right. After your first core cities, work ethic isn't doing anything. Granted, it's just based off what I can see now. There could be a huge mountain range available, like right off the edge of the screen that we can't see. But I think just the static production of faith from the Wonder will make Jesuit education good because you could buy an early library. You can buy those early buildings.
Let me ask you a question. With
Yeah.
getting the first pantheon and generating pretty significant amount of faith early, would it
Yep.
be possible to get other beliefs like choral music, for example?
Unlike generating faith isn't generating great person
Mm-hmm.
points.
True. True.
So, if you generated so much that you were able to buy the first great profit, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if choral music's available, I think that is the play of this game,
Mm-hmm.
but that's so unlikely,
Okay.
because that free culture early to offset the or not to offset, but to complement the free science you're getting, that's generating both districts. Then you focus solely on growth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay.
But I just don't see I don't see that coming, but that also is going to be 100% based off of who your rivals are. Mapuche is generally not a religious civ, so you can say that that one is a shot for your lucky, but he does tend to build wonders a little bit more, and Stonehenge is a wonder. Uh, the AI doesn't consider Stonehenge religious; it considers it wonder, just from what I've noticed, because like Mali and stuff will build it. Uh,
So what
but
wonders would you prioritize in this game? Like you mentioned, Apadana might actually not happen.
yeah,
Things like
I just don't see
Oracle,
that happening.
right? What about wonders like, I don't know, Oracle, for example, the early ones that might not
I
happen
think
either.
this is well, settling where I'm set, like, because I am going to like where your city is.
Hmm.
I promise you right now, that is where my city is going to be.
Okay.
Like, I am saying that right now, that is where my city will be. Now, if you settled closer to where you spawned in, I would say Apadana Oracle is possible. I mean, you have the tiles for it, but still unlikely.
Hmm.
There's not the huge burst potential up there. You don't have any 3 food tiles. You don't have, like, a lot of chops. You don't have anything, you don't have, like, a huge work ethic holy site. You have nothing to really get those wonders out.
Yeah.
Um,
And
because you
you're
have
gonna be, I mean, you focus on wonders, you're gonna be missing out on expansion, essentially,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
and that's the other thing.
And then you have to
This
deal with Mapuche.
Yeah, this original starting location is a very average starting location. You don't have like I said, you have no 3 food tiles, so your population isn't gonna grow huge even if you settle on fresh water.
Hmm.
You're gonna be working 2 1 tiles.
Hmm. Yeah. Yep. Exactly.
Like so and that's why I say you work with what the start gives you, and what the start gives you is that wonder. It's like honestly, and that is what I liked about the start is you have the option to work a wonder, but it's going to take you turns, or you have the option to work a very average start.
Okay. So what wonders would you focus on? Like, would I remember you mentioned Forbidden City, for example, that gives you an extra policy slot.
And that's going to be based off chops. I would definitely want to get Killwa this game. And
Provided you
I
meet city states, right?
yeah, but Killwa is one of the wonders I think is always worthwhile.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, if Apadana isn't built, I'm going to go for it. I just don't think it's a reality this game. Like my honest opinion, just based off the starting turns, I think Apadana is a fool's errand in this. I think you're just going to lose turns.
Mm-hmm.
I I
Mm-hmm.
I I just think you're coming in far too late to get it. But I'm gonna wanna get Killwa. I'm gonna want to get, Forbidden City probably. Beyond that, if I could get Hanging Gardens because of where I'm going to settle, but I think anyone, any settle in this first area, if you could get hanging gardens would be good because there's very few good growth tiles in the area.
Let me ask you about hanging gardens because I did have a question coming like that. Um, the bonus from hanging gardens,
Yes.
that's a growth by 15% to all cities. It's not access
Yes.
food or anything like that, right?
Yeah,
So it's straight up growth, not like
correct.
the okay.
So your cities that are only working 2 food tiles are gonna grow better. And that's the problem. Like, when I'm looking at this right now, there is no real growth tiles. Your wheat tile in the plains is breaking even. Like, there's no, trade routes is the only thing that's going to boost your cities other than Around the Wonder. Around the Wonder, you actually do have some high growth tiles.
Hmm. Yeah,
So this
no,
is g
this is interesting. So beyond Forbidden City, um, Kilwa,
Forbidden City
what else?
Forbidden City, Kilwa, Hanging Gardens. I mean, if don't Apadana Oracle is always like top tier. If you can get them, yeah. I just don't think I'm going to build them because I don't think it's possible this game.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're
Just
gonna
based
need Ruhr Valley to build that spaceport.
I will tell you right now, I am probably not going to build Ruhr Valley because if you
I
can't
know.
build it in your capital, it's not. Or let me, if you can't build it in your spaceport city, it's not worth building.
Hmm.
Um,
Absolutely. What about
so
hiring Liang at some point? See, I was thinking that Science Game is one of the few games where Casa de Construction is actually a pretty decent wonder because it provides you extra governor titles.
yes,
And like hiring somebody like Liang who would provide an extra builder charge, right?
yeah,
Would be also beneficial to the game in addition to Moksha, in addition to Pingal and Magnus. So
yeah,
what are your
and
thoughts on Casa?
that actually might not be a bad idea. I hate that I'm saying this. That actually, now that you're saying that, that makes actually a lot of sense because culture is gonna be lower this game. And this is just based off what I can see right now. There could be nothing but culture city states, and then of course all this goes right out the window.
Hmm.
But culture could be a problem this game, because there's nothing to amplify it. You're not getting culture to plantations or culture to pastures if you're getting religious settlements, or anything else. I don't think, like the conversation we were having off air, where you said that culture to followers isn't good. I think this is a game where it doesn't return enough because your religious pressure early isn't gonna be there. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm. Hmm.
So this is a game where I don't think culture to followers is going to return enough. I mean, I still think it's the choice, but it's not gonna return enough to really get you down that culture tree. I think that if you could set up a situation where you have a good theater square, that might not be a bad build this game. Or like you were saying, go Casa to get those extra governor titles. Because the reality is you're going to need a lot of science games are the most governor title heavy game, because you need to accomplish so many things, that I think that might actually be a good thing to plan on building.
And you still need the like to get through the technology tree. You need boosts of all
Yeah,
sorts, right? That will include civics as well. So no matter what, in a science game, you still need a lot of culture to help
yeah,
you along. And to your point, this is going to be a struggle.
yeah.
Culture income.
Because the one thing that culture to population is good if you have a lot of holy sites and you have a lot of cities and your
You're talking
holy
about
sites are
world
good.
church belief, right? Just
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
okay,
Sorry about that. Yep.
yeah, yeah.
World Church is good if you're getting that pressure out early. I don't think that you're necessarily getting an early religion because as was mentioned, your district costs are going to go up early, so your districts are going to come later. So even though you might get 2 or 3 cities faster than usual if you get religious settlements, I think your districts are coming out later, and I think your monuments are coming out later. So I think those cities are just getting those static yields from the wonder. Um, so I think this is like I was really I liked the limited growth, and I liked that you have the option to play aggressive on this one.
Yeah. Well, listen, we've talked about this game quite a bit, and there are a couple of ways to play it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
the one thing that is clear is Mapuche problem.
Yeah, Mapuche's gonna be a problem for everyone.
Yeah,
I think that I think knowing that he's there, if you ignored him, you could easily get a friendship with him, obviously. You could just explore everywhere but down there and hope he doesn't find you. But I
yeah, I
I
don't know.
I think even the AI can explore good enough for that, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I mean he's too close. But I'd love to see you guys play it out with us and maybe make different settling decisions.
Yeah,
This could be a fun game. You know, it's always fun to play with a such awesome wonder right next in your spawning area.
yeah,
And Gilgamesh, not the easiest one to play. Not the
yeah.
easiest.
And I will say, if you go what is, in my opinion, the strongest route of friendship early and then go all out war in the middle of the game, you're gonna wanna pick one civilization to make an alliance with and just have them do joint wars for that +5 bonus for Gilgamesh. And I would almost say you're gonna wanna get an alliance as soon as possible because this is a game where that chemistry eureka is gonna come real easy. If you make an alliance right away and send an international trade route, you will be able to get a stronger alliance. And this might be a game where a democracy, just because the alliances, if you get like a good civ next to you, you might be able to produce a decent amount of science with a research alliance and a top tier, a level 3 alliance early and international trade routes to them in democracy.
Hmm. So you are talking about the ability of Gilgamesh or Sumeria.
Yeah.
Uh huh. Uh huh.
Like, it's not good. I much prefer to have that in the game, not the civ I'm playing, but it's not it's not an ability you should ignore,
Yeah. So
especially
that means
because
you need to find a friend as soon as possible,
yeah, you need to
right?
find a good friend that you can get trade routes to, and I would almost say you start off with a cultural alliance to get the culture on the international routes, and then you switch to a research alliance. Tom, we will be posting. I'll just post a link on my channel to the Google Drive with the turn one save. I'll post it right after the stream. And Kane, you want to do the same thing?
Yeah, 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 definitely. And then we'll include the seed as well and map details.
Yeah. Yeah, the seed is in my original post, but seeds are wonky. Sometimes even if you
Yeah.
put everything exactly the right, you get 2 different versions depending on where you live and whatnot. I know when we were doing it in the Bragg Club, the guy who lived in Hungary, I'm not even gonna try and pronounce his name, a lot of times generated a different game because, and I think that's a localization thing.
Okay. Well, we can even post a deity and a lower difficulty level if there is interest. So comment, like, and
Yeah, let us know if you want a lower difficulty version. There's no reason you have to play on Deity if you're not comfortable with it. Like I play on Deity because it's what I do, but don't let people like convince you to play a game that you don't enjoy.
exactly. And that's a perfect way to actually end this stream, because it's time for me to go. Soger,
Yeah,
as
sounds good.
always, you are the man. It's a
Yeah.
pleasure discussing the game with you, among other things. And
All
thank
right.
you guys for watching.
Are
Really
we gonna be
appreciate it.
are when do we plan to finish this? Like what's our time frame for finishing this? Are we looking to
Yeah,
do
I
it in
mean,
a month or
Yeah, I mean, maybe even less. It really depends. I mean, we can.
Because, what's his name? Zondesky or
Yeah,
however it's pronounced? He's gonna be, on stream with us next week.
that's right. That's right. Um, yeah, I don't know. It
So,
could be a
maybe the
month.
week after? Yeah, let's put a month on it.
Yeah,
I'll
maybe
post my
less.
video.
Maybe
Yeah,
less. It might take too
I'll post
long.
my
You know.
videos, but I think let's just do it naturally. I'll post my videos as I finish 'em, and then we'll just talk about it when we both finish it.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Alright. Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks, More Props. Thanks, Thomas. Thanks, Toki and the Dagster, and anyone else who I missed. Thank you for watching, guys.
Thank you, guys. Enjoy the game.